Dan. It's great to have you back on. I mean, what do you make of these latest moves, and how far do you think this, well, if you do that, I'm going to do this, game continues?
Hey, Brian. Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks with respect to how the U.S. and China have been engaging. I think you've seen last week the executive orders against the technology companies, the social media companies. You've seen sanctions levied on Friday against Carrie Lam and other members of the Hong Kong government that have actually made life pretty difficult for global banks operating in the Hong Kong market. I do view, though, what China did yesterday with designating Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz under their sanctions again as somewhat of a de-escalation step. But I mean, we are getting to the point, certainly, where this situation is getting untenable for businesses operating in both markets to easily operate without fear of some sort of government intervention on either side.
So what's the way to de-escalate it, Dan? Is there, do you see anything in your sort of crystal ball that says, all right, this is what countries do, and they kind of, playground politics, if you will, but ultimately it does back off? Do you see any sign of that?
I mean, this isn't typically what the first and second largest economies in the world do, so the off-ramp is unclear. You do need to see some degree of productive talks in line with what we saw related to the Phase 1 deal a few months ago. But the honest truth is, right now, you've got a situation in the banking sector in Hong Kong where the U.S. has imposed sanctions on certain government officials within Hong Kong. The HKMA, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, came out just the other day saying you don't need to comply with these U.S. sanctions domestically. But global banks are already turning away business from those impacted persons for fear of U.S. retaliation. And we've had this discussion before with respect to the U.S. and Iran. Banks will choose the U.S. until China gives them reason not to. But that's a dangerous game, to say the least.
Yeah, it truly is an incredible story. Dan, let me ask you something totally separate. You see the headlines. Russia claims they've got a working vaccine. Boom. How's that for breaking news Tuesday? I'm not going to ask if you believe it or not, because who knows? Be kind of a big fib for Putin to say, we have a working vaccine. Ha, sorry, just kidding. Or I'm not going to share it with the world. If Russia, though, does have one, let's say they did it, right? A lot of smart scientists over there as well. What kind of leverage does that give them on the world?
Yeah, and I'll caveat this, which I've wanted to for months now. I'm not an epidemiologist, so I know nothing about the likelihood of them producing a viable vaccine. Just to be clear on this. I mean, what kind of leverage does it provide them? I mean, I think you have this race at the moment globally for different countries trying to produce their own effective vaccine. I'm not sure how much leverage that necessarily gives them, given how advanced some of the other countries and where their vaccine talks are. But you don't see a lot of major markets looking to eagerly embrace Russia other than China at this point. So I'm not sure if this is necessarily an event. And as we've seen, it's been clearly met with some skepticism.